Hey guys, welcome to my last video where I'll be talking about habits, specifically some of the tips that are featured in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. In the last video, I talked about the 4 laws of behavior change. Specifically, I covered the first 2 laws, which are make it obvious and make it attractive. In this video, I'm going to be talking about laws 3 and 4, which are make it easy and make it satisfying. So when it comes to starting a new habit, the third law, which is make it easy, is very important because a habit, obviously, if you're trying to start a new habit, you have to do it a lot. You have to do it on a consistent basis. A lot of people are curious about how long does it take to form a habit, but frequency, how much you're doing a habit on a continual basis is actually more important to the formation of a habit than, how long you're doing it. Um, you know, Frequency is when you are continuously, making it a part of your schedule. You're doing it over and over and over again. And part of the thing that happens when you do something over and over again over a prolonged period of time is it becomes more automatic. Your brain no longer has to put in much of an effort to do that thing. It kind of just becomes more effortless and more automatic. So with the more frequency and the more automatic a habit becomes, the easier it becomes. And then obviously the easier it becomes, the less difficult it is to make that habit a part of your life because it's easy. Obviously a difficult habit is going to be more of a task to do on a daily basis than an easy one. So in terms of making a habit easier, one of the ideas that James Clear talks about in this book, Atomic Habits, is the law of least effort. And as the name suggests, the law of least effort basically says the less effort that you have to put into a habit, the better, because then it's going to be easier to get yourself to do that habit on a consistent basis. So this kind of is similar to what I talked about in my first video on habits, which is, this whole idea of 1% change. People tend to think they need to make the big changes, but as I mentioned in the first video I made on habits, just 1% change is actually good enough because over time, 1% change compounds and over time it leads to a big change. That's like one of the whole big ideas behind this book. And so similar with this whole 1% change, the law of least effort says to make it easy in terms of, if you want to start flossing, don't think, okay, I'm going to start the habit of flossing. Now I need to go floss all of my teeth. You could, if you feel like, you're too lazy to like really cement that habit in your life, you can start easy. You can maybe floss one tooth. You might say that's like too easy. I can do more than that. But initially, right, conceptually or like theoretically, you could just start off with one tooth. And then the next night you make it 2 teeth. And then the next night is 3 teeth. And you slowly build up from there. And after 1 week, now you're flossing 7 teeth. 2 weeks, now you're flossing 14 teeth. And, it's basically just a way to take what could be a complicated process of starting a habit in your life, and it makes it a lot easier. It makes it much more simple when you had to put in less effort. Instead of, you know, going through a rigorous workout where you're working out 15, 30, 45 minutes to an hour a day, you can start off easy and just do 5 minutes a day, and that's how you start off. You make the habit easy. Another useful tip is to reduce the friction with that habit. And what that means is if you're trying to, lift weights, you might get some dumbbells and leave them right by your chair where you watch TV so that whenever you're watching a TV show and the commercial comes on, you can just pick up your dumbbells and you just start working out, and every time a commercial comes on, you do like 15 reps or something like that. And that reduces the friction. It's not like, I got to go to the gym to work out. You can literally just sit in your living room and work out. And because you've reduced that friction, that habit becomes easier to do on a continual basis. It's like I can literally watch TV and work out at the same time. And then obviously, when it comes to breaking a bad habit, because if you want to make a good habit, you reduce friction, you make it easier, the law of least effort and all that stuff. But if you want to break a bad habit, the opposite of making it easy is to make it difficult. If there's a bad habit that you're doing, make sure that you make it more difficult to engage in that habit. If you feel like you watch too much television, then what you can do is every single time you're done watching television, just unplug your TV. And this, it might sound a little drastic, but this is actually an example he gives in his book. You can unplug your TV and actually put it in like a closet, so that when it's time for you to watch TV, you're like, oh man, I got to go pick it up out of the closet. I got to plug it in. I got to do all this effort. That reduces the extent, or that reduces the likelihood that you're going to watch television, because now you got to put in a lot of work to do that. Or let's say that, you want to stop smoking. You could, or at least you want to reduce smoking. You could maybe put cigarettes in a place that's like really complicated to reach. Or maybe you feel like you spend too much time on your phone. You could put your phone in a difficult place to get to, which will reduce the extent to which you're actually likely to go and be on your phone a lot. Just the point being, making it difficult, making it a burden to engage in that habit, in that bad habit, can make it less likely that you're going to do it. So those are the important tips for the third law of behavior change, which leads us into the fourth law of behavior change, which is make it satisfying. So obviously, whenever we want to do something, we obviously want to do it because it's rewarding in some sense, right? Even if you don't want to do something like work out, the notion that you're going to be healthy and fit and you're going to look good, that is rewarding, right? So there's usually a reward at the end of any behavior that we're engaging in, and that's why we're engaging in it. The problem is that for us as humans, the way that our brain tends to work is we tend to really prioritize immediate rewards. Whenever we engage in certain activities, we want the reward here and now, right? We want to engage in the behavior and receive the reward that comes from engaging in that behavior or engaging in that habit. But the problem is, a lot of the time in our life, some of the most important rewards we can have in life require for us to delay our gratification. They require us to, put off a reward until a future time. If you are dieting, I mean, obviously it would be nice to just have cheesecake and pizza and all these things that probably aren't the healthiest for you. You could eat those things and they obviously provide you a reward instantly because they taste good and they're rewarding in that way. But obviously, the effects that it has in the long term, your brain doesn't really think about that too much. It just thinks about how good it's going to taste in the present. So, if you want to be healthy in the long term, that's the reward that's going to come eventually over time. Looking good physically, that's a reward that's going to come in the future. So, we have to begin to learn how to delay our gratification and learn that, a lot of the rewards that are in the current or that are in the present moment might not really be what's best for us. What's best is actually the reward that's going to come in the future. You might not like budgeting your money and watching what you spend now, but eventually, when you're taking that extra money and putting it away for retirement, or you're using that money, if you're investing it somewhere, obviously it's going to pay off over a long period of time. It's a future reward that your brain isn't so much wired for. We're more wired for the present rewards. Our brain isn't really wired to, you know, to think about the future reward. But that's something that we have to train our minds to do, to be aware of. This immediate reward might not really be what's best for me. It might be the future reward that I need to tap into. So when it comes to making a habit rewarding, one of the things that makes it rewarding is to see that we're making progress and that we're succeeding in establishing this good habit. And in this book, James Clear suggests that one of the things you can do is called habit tracking. So habit tracking is, let's say you have a calendar, you can, maybe make an X on your calendar if you did the thing that you're trying to do. If you are trying to work out, then if you went to the gym, you can put an X there. So that over time, when you see the X on the days that you're supposed to be working out, you're going to see, oh, I'm making progress. All of these X's on this calendar represent a situation where I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And what that does is it rewards you because you see that you're making progress. You see that you are accomplishing this goal and that you're succeeding at what you wanted to do. And that in turn it reinforces you because you feel a reward that comes with that feeling of I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Essentially, it's a visible indicator. It's something that we can see that reminds us we're on the right track and that can reward us in that way. And this can be useful because obviously, when it comes to habits, sometimes we can fall off the wagon. We might start going to the gym and working out. I know this from my experience a lot. You go to the gym, you start working out, you start eating healthier, but over time, you fall off and you start missing the gym, you start eating unhealthy. One of the principles that James Clear tries to do in his life and that he suggests in the book is the idea of never missing twice. Because if you miss one day, okay, that's bad. But the thing is when you miss twice, that's when it can potentially fall into the danger of becoming a continual thing. If you miss a day, you miss a day. But if you miss another day and then you miss another day, that falls into the danger category of now this can become a pattern. And now it can be like, I'm going to miss a week instead of just missing a day. So, I mean, obviously we're human. None of us are perfect. We all mess up and fall short of our expectations here and there. But if you can, shoot for the goal of never missing twice. One of the principles that James Clear tries to do in his life and that he suggests in the book is the idea of never missing twice. Because if you miss one day, okay, that's bad. But the thing is when you miss twice, that's when it can potentially fall into the danger of becoming a continual thing. If you miss a day, you miss a day. But if you miss another day and then you miss another day, that falls into the danger category of now this can become a pattern. And now it can be like, I'm going to miss a week instead of just missing a day. So, I mean, obviously we're human. None of us are perfect. We all mess up and fall short of our expectations here and there. But if you can, shoot for the goal of never missing twice. More importantly, we tend to have this idea that is actually kind of dangerous to the formation of a habit, which is that unless we put in 100% of the effort, unless we do that habit perfectly, it's not worth doing it. It's kind of like if I, you know, I, it- it's kind of like, I would go to the gym today, but I don't have time to work out. I would only be able to do 5 minutes of working out, so I'm just not going to go at all today. And that's a mistake because James Clear argues that it's better to show up and put in minimal effort than to not show up at all. Because then this cements it into your mind that I show up and I do this no matter what. It's better to show up and work out 5 minutes at the gym and that's it than to not show up at all. Because it keeps, it keeps up with your identity. In the first video, I talked about how important your identity is to the formation of your habits. And if your identity is, I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout, when you go and you put in even a minimal effort, that's better than putting in no effort at all. Now, that's not to say that you should just go to the gym and put in minimal effort every day, obviously not. Or that you should put in minimal effort to writing if you're trying to write a book, or that you should put in minimal effort every day if you're trying to paint a painting or something. Obviously you should try to put in the best effort you can every day, but in a situation where you have very little time or you're not going to be able to put in much of an effort, it's better to put in at least 1% effort than zero for that day. So if you're trying to write a book and saying, oh, I have no time to write today, I can't do it. I usually try to write for 30 minutes a day. I can't do it today, so I'm not going to write. It's better to just write one sentence. Even if it's just one sentence, just write that one sentence. That's better than not writing at all. And then this ties back into habit tracking because you can still put that X on your calendar and say, yeah, like I didn't put in that much of an effort, but I still put in the effort. I still showed up. And because I showed up, I can still, put forth the physical, visible features that show me, by habit tracking, that show me I am showing up on a continual basis. I'm continuing this process of succeeding in my habit formation, my positive habit formation. So when it comes to the fourth law of behavior change, which is making it satisfying, rewards, making sure that it is rewarding, is very important. So when it comes to that fourth law of behavior change, which is make it satisfying, obviously that fourth idea of, attaching a reward to it so that it is satisfying is very important. The opposite, which is to make it unsatisfying, right? If you're trying to stop a bad habit, then rather than making it satisfying, you need to make it unsatisfying. So by making a bad habit unsatisfying, you're obviously going to uh, diminish the extent to which you're going to do it, because then your brain is like, okay, there's not a reward attached here. I'm not going to do it, because the reward is what tells your brain, hey, this is good. Make sure that you do this again next time. And when the reward is unsatisfying, when there is, when the behavior is unsatisfying in the end, your brain is not going to feel the need to do that habit. Anyway, so I just wanted to wrap up those last two laws of behavior change altogether from this video and last video. Those are the 4 laws of behavior change outlined in the book Atomic Habits. Overall, I really liked this book. I thought that sometimes some of the stuff was a little repetitive, like, the second law, which is make it attractive, and the fourth law, which is make it satisfying. I felt that sometimes there might be a little repetition between those. But overall, I would definitely recommend this book to someone who is trying to establish more positive habits and kick bad habits in their life. Um, it's easy to read. It makes the ideas very accessible. I've only touched upon, the iceberg of what this book goes into about all of these concepts. So if you've liked these videos, and you haven't read the book yet, then you should definitely go pick it up if you're interested in getting to more of the details behind these concepts. Anyway, that is it for my videos on habits. I'll be making videos about some of the other books I'm reading soon. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. If you know someone who is looking to improve the habits in their life, show them these videos, let them know about the book. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.